Right then. Can't explain myself on this one. This is tricky. So this is Blog 3 5.1 mix. Talking about everything involved, hopefully, in that during the 5.1 mix. So first of all, calibrating the studio so we could do the mix. First of all, a little about the physical placement of the speakers. I've got a Dolby. What is it? A Dolby reference manual here, which I'll post a link to at the bottom. So this sort of shows. I can't really show the picture. Shows where the speaker placements be, which says it should be the center one straight in front of your optimum mixing and listening position. The left and right speakers are 30 degrees left and right of the central position, and then your left and right satellites are 100 to 120 degrees from left to right of the speaker behind. They're not exactly that in the studio because we haven't got enough space for it to be done like that. The room isn't big enough, and the setup of all the desks and that isn't accurate enough to do that. But it's as close as we could get it. So to calibrating it for audio, this is where I'm struggling. So Dolby systems usually use a bass management system. Typical, my PDF's knackered. A bass management system, which this is section 4.1 of 4.4, I think it is, in this guide, which routes all of the signals for the left, right, for the 5 surround speakers through a crossover almost, and takes everything that's below 80 hertz and sends it to the sub. There's also the 0.1 of the 5.1, which is the LFE channel, which is also routed to the sub, but given a 10 dB boost before. So we haven't got a bass management system, so we had to sort of create one, which we used with the which was used with the Sapphire Mix Control. It's got 16 different mix tabs at the top, so we use 6 of them. Mix tabs 1 to 5, which you routed 1 for 1. So from the door, the left channel to the left speaker, and then mix tab 6 was a bass management system, which was it had everything in it, so all 6 channels except the 6th channel, so the LFE channel. The faders are set at 0, with everything else, with all the other 5 set at -10. Hopefully I can explain that more in a minute. And that sort of created, it's not got the 80 hertz crossover, but it's using the natural cut off of the sub to hopefully generate what's required. It's not exactly right, but we haven't got the necessary means to do it, so it's not. So why the 10 dB difference? Well, this goes with a lot of reading through various different things. This one that we were presented with for calibrating studios for 5.1, and a few other articles I've got. Again, I'll post links for suggesting how the calibration is done. We've sort of gone off this one to a degree, but I think to get it accurate like this, we might have had to do something else. I think we might have got it slightly wrong. I'll have to talk with my peers about it. So in Logic, we set a noise oscillator. I can't remember what it's called. A test tone, pink noise at -18 dBFS, and then obviously that was sent out, and we used the mutes on the Sapphire Mix Control to isolate each of the separate speakers. An SPL meter was used to get to judge the SPL level and work from there. Some of the documents I've got suggest that the reference levels, the SPL reference levels for the surround speakers should be between 79 and 85 dB SPL. And then the LFE should be 4 dB louder. The LFE should be 4. The sub should be 4, or the LFE channel, should I say, should be 4 dB louder than this reference level. So we had to work back from the sub because it's hard to gain access to. So measuring add a little bit in. The SPL meter we were using was set with a C weighting scale, and on a slow setting, so it gave us a better reading of what the average sort of was at the time for the SPO level. So back to what we were doing. So we were working with the sub. We routed pink noise to it, minus 18 dBFS on the door. That produced an SPL of 90 dB SPL of 90 dB. So then that would mean our reference level is 86, which is a little bit louder, but that's what we had to work with. So from there, the sub would be muted, and then individually each of the surround channels would then be unmuted, and their volumes adjusted until they were at 86 dB. 86 with sound pressure level. Positioning for the SPL meter was facing exactly center for each of the left, right, and center speakers, and then to calibrate the left and right satellites, you turn 90 degrees from your central position to calibrate them. So that, in an attempt to give a more accurate depiction of where the head and the optimum listening position is. Yes, I think there might be something slightly wrong with that, which I need to talk to the peers about, because with this one here, it talks of the sum channel, which is the sum of the five of the 5.1 to the left, right, and then you've got your LFE channel. But with this particular document, it says that set the level of the subwoofer 6 dB less than that of the main speakers. So this is for the sum channel, and then for the LFE channel, it states 4 dB louder. So you've got so then overall you've got a 10 dB difference. So I think that could have been done on the Sapphire mix control if all of the individual mix tabs were, instead of set to -10, were set to -4. That would have give in the bass management section 6 dB less that's being cropped off, and then 4 above. But I'm going to have to talk to my peers about that, see whether that's see what they think. So yes, that was about that for the calibration, I think. So yeah, hopefully that's explained it. I don't think it has that well, but never mind. Right, so created a Logic project, music for motion picture or whatever. There's a template that we used. So yeah, we imported this. So we used the same videos we did for the BBC. So it's got the 2 minutes before of the that's the SMPTE test colour card, the colour test card, and put some new lineup tones in. We actually used blitz tones, which are, this is that same document as we used before, the Tech 3304, the EBU. Just states what the test tones are, so it's, I won't go through them all, but it's it sends different tones to the surround speakers, and then gives a left ident as well, actually, and then puts a 2K tone through all of them, so you know it's almost working. again, was that put in? I mean, I don't think that's necessary for this, but it's a good indication that everything's working correctly. So yeah, once we import it again, SMPTE was set to 1 hour. That's just a traditional thing done for film. Again, I don't think it's massively relevant, but we would just follow them. It's good practice to do that. So next was we started looking at references for how things were mixed and started investigating how best to do the mix. So the first thing we come across was, well, not the first thing entirely, but the major thing was dial norm, and this generally states, I'm going off what this gentleman here is saying, this again, I'll put this post up here, this hometheatrehifi.com. So so the dial norm is a general average of where the dialogue, the average level of the dialogue for cinema things are, and it uses metadata. If I get this right, uses metadata to sort of attenuate different. So a Dolby system will use the metadata from the dial norm to attenuate the levels of programs it's showing to adjust the levels correctly, so the levels appear to be the same, almost the same-ish. So you haven't, like this guy says here, like it gives an example of that, listening to a film where it's at a comfortable level and then it cuts to commercial and it's really loud. Hopefully it's aimed to do that. So anyway, the dial norm, so we start looking at dial norm and general recommended levels for dial norm. We come across this document, which was a dial norm tutorial. Again, I'll post various the links below, and this has got various examples of this of what things are set at. For films that are set using various bits. So Sherlock Holmes here is at minus 28 dB. Buck Rogers at minus 27. Where's some better examples? The News, Jay Leno. So a lot of Family Guy at minus 27, minus 24, should I say? I think that's the HD version. So yeah, so general levels. So the general levels. So we also used cuts. Used Handbrake and got Pirates of the Caribbean. Took a snippet of Pirates of the Caribbean and ported that in and looked, and their reference level was about 27, but they're using a different full scale system, which is 2 dB quieter. Well, it's minus 20. Ours is minus 18 dBFS. So it's 2 dB. So there's a 2 dB increase on that one. So it would have been about minus 25. So we set on minus 25 for our dial norm. Long-winded, I went round the asses then. The dialogue's also panned in the centre, into the centre speaker. That's from using a lot of things. Now I've lost everything. Reading various blogs and articles. This is Sound on Sound one. That the centre speaker generally carries the dialogue and other sounds that need to be keyed to the centre of the visual image. So once we had that, we knew that our average was going to be at minus 20 dBFS and in the centre speaker. Then that's the starting position really for our mix. So we began. So we set our dialogue to minus 25 dBFS. Well, so it was approximately around that area. Panned it to the centre speaker only. as recommended, and then began mixing everything from there. For the electronic half of the track, we I mean, for the whole thing entirely, there's not a massive amount of surroundy effect, because our both tracks were quite thin on the instrumentation wise. We did a few bits with automating panning for the electric bit, which seems quite nice. It's quite good. But for the rock half, we tried more creating a mix where the optimum listening position was tried to be a bit like the drummer, but I suppose you sort of do that with stereo, so it's very mixed in a stereo manner. It's mixed like you're trying to be the drummer, and hopefully it gives a bit more of an impression that you're sitting around a drummer. Yeah, it sounds a lot better, I think, than the BBC mix. Why? Maybe because I'm not used to listening in a 5.1 environment. I've been to cinema plenty of times, sure, but I've not got 5.1 at home or anything like that, so it's quite a new experience. So it might be that whole new a new, like I say, the new experience might be a lot better. So yeah, mixing wise, I mean, technical wise, we used a lot of compression and things like that to raise the RMS levels of set bits to get them up more and out there more. But yeah, like I suggested in the BBC one, it'd be interesting to find or to observe someone that's mixing for cinema and actually see their technique. So what else to say? I don't. Yeah. So once we were happy with the mix, it was bounced. It was bounced from Logic as six individual. Oh, I'm gonna get stuck. 6 individual stems or files, should we say, not stems, because you can bounce a surround by the looks of it. You can bounce a surround file from Logic, but it's a DVD-A. We wanted it to be an AC3 to work to be the right format for Dolby and for the Cinema Mix. So it was bounced as separate 6 separate files, and then compressor was used to create a file. There's a surround sound option, gives you a tab that collects it, and it gives you a basic image of the surround mix, and then you drag and drop the appropriate files to each of the corresponding speakers, and then bounce it down to an AC3 file. So once that was complete, we had an AC3 format of the audio. We used DVD Pro, Studio Pro, should I say? DVD Studio Pro was used to combine the two together and to authorize the DVD. It's a DVD authorizing program, so that was used to create the final DVD that it's bounced to. That's about it, I think. It's alright.